Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts because the Raw Feed is about to take you on a wild ride through the political minefield that is shaping America's future. I'm your host, Gary, and tonight we're ripping the mask off the lies, exposing the scandals, and bringing you the unvarnished truth the mainstream media is desperately trying to hide. From Trump's explosive press conference to Kamala's debate dodge, from the UK's Orwellian crackdown on free speech to Biden's team's voter manipulation tactics, we are covering it all. And wait until you hear about the global censorship plan that could change everything. But here's what makes Raw Feed special. We're not just telling you the news, we are getting you involved in it. Throughout the show, we'll be showcasing your comments from the live chat. So keep those hot takes coming, folks, and grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready for a no-holds-barred journey through these stories that are shaping our world. We're not just reading headlines. We are dissecting them, analyzing them, and getting to the heart of what they mean for you and me. This is the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we expose the truth behind it. So let's dive in as I continue to mess with my earpiece here. Yes, we're live, folks. Let's welcome everybody in the chat room. Hello, Jeremy and Rosemary and Warrior and Mr. RC51. This guy comments on every video. I love it. I love seeing it. I always get notifications too. Who else we got in the house? We have got Ren and Jose and Running Bear and Dave. Everybody is here. Rob's in the house. Gerardo is in the house. Planet Pirma, Audrey, Maya, Brandy, Arnold, Paul, Rob, Michael, Viking Joe is in the house. Sweet Music for You Too is in the house. Everyone's here. Remember to drop a comment as to where you are watching from. City, state, country, whatever you're comfortable with revealing, because we like to get an idea of how broad our reach is. This broadcast goes out globally. We are on all social channels. We are on Rumble. If you're not there, if you're not following us there, I encourage you to do so immediately. I also encourage you to follow us on X. You can find the stream there. We're also, of course, broadcasting to our millions of subscribers on YouTube. We've got a lot of news to jump into, and sorry about the late timing tonight. We did have some late-breaking information that we are still digesting. We'll have more information on it tomorrow. But, folks, tomorrow is going to be a very, very wild news day. So make sure you bookmark and subscribe to the channel so you are brought up to date when we break this huge story tomorrow. Now, let's get into our first topic of the evening. Trump's campaign momentum and Kamala's challenges. That's right, patriots, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the political thunderdome that is the 2024 election. Trump's on fire, Kamala's on the ropes, and we've got the inside scoop. It'll make your head spin. From crowd sizes the media won't report to debate dodges that are everybody talking. We are exposing it all. And wait until you hear Trump's plans for Social Security and tips. It is a game changer, folks. Is this the beginning of a landslide victory for Trump? Well, stay tuned because this story is hotter than a MAGA rally in July. And speaking of game changers, let's talk about protecting your financial future in these turbulent times. Just as Trump is shaking up the political landscape, global economic shifts are impacting your wealth. Gold prices have surpassed $2,400 an ounce, reflecting a weakening U.S. dollar. Don't let political uncertainty erode your savings. Global Gold Investments offers a 5-year IRA fee waiver program and expert guidance to secure your financial future. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148, or visit the link in the description, iragoldproof.com. Mention next news for VIP treatment. In times of political upheaval, gold remains a stable haven. Protect your wealth today. Okay, man, let's jump into it. What a news day for the Trump campaign, and of course, Kamala on the ropes reacting. President Trump held it was like a 78-minute press conference today, and we've got some of the clips lined up that you need to know what happened. We've also got reaction from Kamala Harris. So much is happening here. So let's jump right into it. We've got our first hit. This is Steve Cortez tweeting out what President Trump said. And the people know this. You know this. You feel it. You feel it at the gas pump. You feel it at the grocery store. You feel it if you go out to eat, if you can even afford to go out to eat. President Trump says people are voting with their stomachs. And he's right. Americans can't afford to feed themselves and their families. It's really sad in this day and age, especially underneath the the boot heel of the Biden administration that's really turning this country into a third world despot. Let's go here and jump to President Trump right away.
The polls have suggested, there are some polls that say we're going to win in a landslide. People are voting with their stomachs, meaning they're going to the grocery store. They're paying 50, 60, 70% more for food than they did just a couple of years ago. Look at what's happened to energy. Look at what's happened not only to their cars, where gasoline's gone from $1.87, $1.87, and we had moments when it was below that, but it's gone from $1.87 to $5, $6, and $7. And they take the strategic national reserves and they take it out, even though it's peanuts compared, it doesn't last long. But they're virtually empty now. We've never had it this low. And he's using that to keep the gasoline prices as low as possible. He's sucked all of the oil out, essentially the gasoline, to keep the price down a little bit, and it's had very little impact. But you know what? We have no strategic national reserves now. Wow. He's emptied it. It's almost empty. It's never been this low.
Now, we got another minute left on that clip, but what he's pointing out here is a national security threat. Joe Biden emptying the strategic oil reserves, not because, we're isolating ourselves from the world, but because he wants to artificially lower the gas prices to help him politically. That strategic oil reserve is designed in the event of a world war, which we could very well be on the cusp of. I mean, look at all the different hotspots across the world. You've got China, Taiwan. You've got North Korea. We reported the other day what they're doing on the border there with South Korea. And of course, who can forget what's happening with Ukraine and Russia? And then the Middle East is a powder keg. Any moment now, we're expecting Iran to start doing strikes on Israel. And this guy is lowering the strategic oil reserve to be politically expedient during an election. It's a disgrace.
And I had it at a good level, and I would have had it more if the Democrats would have approved the deal. I had a deal to buy it at $22 a barrel, and now it's going to be close to 100 pretty soon, my opinion. And the Democrats didn't want to do that, but we bought a lot anyway, and we had it pretty good. And what they've done to the national reserves, the strategic national reserves, is, as you know very well, because you cover it, but what they've done is incredible. They've just, for the sake of getting some votes, for the sake of having gasoline, that's meant for wars. It's meant for, tragedy. It's not meant to keep a gasoline price down so that somebody can vote for Biden, or in this case, Kamala, who, by the way, is worse than Biden. And she's actually not as smart. Okay? She's actually not as smart. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, he basically just confirmed exactly what I just told you with respect to the strategic oil reserves and Biden using it just to get votes. Jumping to Dinesh D'Souza, he's reporting a clip here. This is coming to us from Fox. A reporter asking Trump if he's concerned with the size of Kamala's crowd, and the response is worth the watch. Now, before we get to Trump's response, remember what we reported yesterday. Okay, she had this huge rally. But people were there, not for her, but because a famous Billboard chart topper was there to sing. Just like when Megan Thee Stallion was at the event in Atlanta. It's all AstroTurf, especially as we've been covering the paid social media influencer campaigns. $10,000 if you are an influencer and you post to TikTok or Instagram. Or on a lesser account, $150. And where's the money coming from? Well, it's coming from these dark money groups that are funding into Act Blue. We don't know where that money's coming from. It could be coming from China. It could be coming from anywhere across the world, skirting election laws, going into Act Blue and funding these influencers. So let's take a look at what Trump is saying about the size of Kamala's crowd.
Worried at all about the size of Harris's crowds?
Oh, give me a break. Listen, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. You didn't report it. I'm so glad you asked. What did she have yesterday? 2,000 people? If I ever had 2,000 people, you'd say my campaign is finished. It's so dishonest, the press. And here's a great example. I had in Michigan recently 25,000 people, and 25,000 people we just couldn't get them in. We had in Harrisburg 25,000 people, and 20,000 people couldn't get in. We had so many. Nobody ever mentions that. When she gets 1,500 people, and I saw it yesterday on ABC, which they said, oh, the crowd was so big. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size. And no, they never say the crowd was big. That's why I'm always saying turn around the cameras. I'm so glad you asked that. I think it's so terrible when you say, well, she has 1,500 people, 1,000 people, and they talk about, oh, the enthusiasm. Let me tell you, we have the enthusiasm. The Republican Party, and me as a candidate, but the Republican Party has the enthusiasm.
And everything that's behind the Kamala campaign is all straight up AstroTurf propaganda. And the media is glad to run with it in order to artificially inflate poll numbers and create, of course, the perception of Kamala's support. It's all smoke and mirror, folks. Do not fall for it. That's why we're here. We're exposing it. Now, here is another question that was posed. Scott Adams, he says this candidate, Trump, knows how to answer questions. Trump bodies a reporter for questioning his campaign schedule. Let's go to Trump and see the reaction here.
Okay.
Mr. President, you have not had a public campaign event for nearly a week now. Tomorrow you'll be in Montana, which is not a swing state. Some of your allies have expressed concern that you're not taking this race seriously, particularly at a time where there is enthusiasm on the other side. Why haven't you been campaigning this week?
Because I'm leading by a lot, and because I'm letting their convention go through. And I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before.
So he calls her out. Yeah, Kamala hasn't done any press conferences unscripted. Everything she does is on a teleprompter. It's carefully crafted. As you saw just yesterday, J.D. Vance, he approached Air Force Two. And Kamala ran away when the reporters came up, and J.D. Vance went to those reporters and said, "Well, where's Kamala? She leaves you guys here," never taking the opportunity to present her message to the American people. The press is standing there waiting. They are waiting with bated breath for anything that Kamala will present them. But she runs from the press. It's because without her teleprompter, without her scripts, without her propaganda machine, she is an empty vessel. And here's Trump going to the press, 72-minute press conference, taking all the questions, even the most ridiculous ones. Oh, wow. Let's see here. We got some more news we're going to get into. Okay, so you guys we've reported on this. This is the no tax on tips thing. President Trump doubling down, tripling down on this moment. But I think the new big addition to this is the point about Social Security. Now, if you're collecting Social Security, you pay taxes on that, don't you? Which I think is ridiculous. Well, here's Trump's answer.
People, they're going to destroy Social Security. I am going to leave Social Security. I'm not raising the years. I'm not raising the age. I will be saving Social Security, and I'm going to work it out that there's no tax on Social Security for seniors. I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips. So waiters, waitresses, caddies, people that drive cars, people that get tips who have been harassed by this government, we're going to have no tax on tips. That's a big thing.
I think it's a big thing, too. That is a big thing. I mean, the hospitality industry relies on tips. Obviously, they get paid below minimum wage because they're on collecting tips. So we got to make sure that if you're in the hospitality industry or if you know someone in the hospitality industry, make sure you make them aware of this policy. When you go out to eat, the big trend right now is people writing, President Trump says no tax on tips, and they put it on that receipt when they write in a tip. I mean, think about the windfall that all of those people in the service industry would receive if they weren't taxed at an insane amount on those tips. And then the Social Security aspect, God bless them. It's about time that somebody came up and protected those seniors who are getting Social Security and getting taxed on it again. Oh, man. Unbelievable. But thank God for him. Okay, we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4. Okay, now, this is a short clip. This was another, this just happened a couple hours ago. Looks like Kamala Harris speaking to a bunch of union suits. They probably were all forced to be there by their union bosses. Kay Fitton stating, Harris says, "We believe in the collective," and of course that is the problem.
We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies.
That's hilarious. That's all the left does is divide us. I mean, how many events has Kamala put on already? White folks for Trump, or white folks for Kamala, or, dads for Kamala. I mean, that's all they're doing is they are separating everybody into a nice little neat demographic. And that's a tactic of the left, divide and conquer. They want to control every single one of these groups. What is she talking about? We're not trying to divide. That's all the left does with identity politics. Yes, sure. Thanks, Kamala. All right. Now, this is another interesting point. Little Pump putting out this message on X. He's speaking facts. And that's what the world does not want to hear. And he's responding to Ray, who believes that this clip indicates that Trump is over. Well, let's find out exactly what Mr. Trump had to say.
That Kamala is in favor of not giving Israel weapons? Yeah. That's what I hear. Look, she's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad to Jewish people. And I say it, if anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined. If you think about it, I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. I even built the embassy. I gave them no Iran deal. The problem is they didn't do anything with it. Iran was broke. We could have made a deal so easily. I would have had a deal done within 1 week after the election with Iran. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We would have gotten along with Iran. I was looking forward to it. I was fine with Iran. We hit them a couple of times pretty hard. But we would have been fine with Iran. But I terminated that deal. I got them the Abraham Accords. Everyone said that's impossible. I got them the Abraham Accords. She's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad and disrespectful to Jewish people. And any Jewish person that votes for Kamala and her friend, her new friend, who I don't know if she knew him before, but I don't think he's too good. But anybody that votes for them, if you're Jewish or if you love Israel, you have to have your head examined.
Well, I mean, he's making a good point. Now, historically, and what we've seen is, on the Democrat side, if you are black, if you're African American, if you're Jewish, the majority of those demographics vote for the Democrat Party. But right now, the Democrats have a very, very serious problem. First of all the illegals that are flooding into this country, and the black community is outraged. I mean, look at what's been happening in Chicago. I mean, thousands and thousands of illegals are flooding into the neighborhoods, and they're putting them in the black neighborhoods. The black neighborhoods are up in arms. They're getting them all kinds of welfare, housing, jobs, benefits. But meanwhile, the black community that's suffering in Chicago is getting cast aside for people that have no right to even be here in this country. And then you have, on the Jewish side of it, the Jewish people, and you have Israel being under attack, and America as an ally of Israel. Historically, that's the way it's been. But then you have this faction within the Democrat Party. They are pro-Hamas, they're pro-Palestine, and you hear them chanting at these rallies, from the river to the sea. It means that these people are advocating for the eradication of Israel. So why would any Democrat in the right mind, someone who is of the Jewish faith or a supporter of Israel, why would they in their right mind vote Democrat? They're effectively voting for the demise of their own home country. But of course, they're going to take sound bites from this, and they're going to say that Trump is X, Y, and Z, and he's a racist or whatever. But the fact, that's the truth. That's the truth, folks. Okay, let's see. We've got another clip here. This is from... Okay, so Nick Sortor posting Kamala Harris is refusing to commit to all 3 debates with President Trump, calling her a coward. This is 3 hours ago. Trump has her running scared, and he calls her Chicken Mala Harris. Let's listen to this.
In all 3. Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo.
What about the other 2?
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed.
That's creepy. Yeah, 3 debates. One's going to be on Fox, from what I understand. Another one on NBC. So it's going to be really wild to watch these debates unfold. Now, one of the reasons Trump never committed to debating Kamala in the first place is because, first of all, she's not the actual nominee yet. Once they nominate her at the convention or at the virtual convention or whatever device they attempt to do so that they can avoid any chaos at convention, because there has been whispers, and we've been talking about it here. Even Roger Stone has said that they would bring in Michelle Obama at the end. Now there's even whispers of her vice presidential pick vacating the ticket because of this whole stolen valor scandal. Now, I don't think that's really going to happen. I think that would really create even more chaos in the Democrat Party. But you never know. I mean, this has been the craziest election cycle we've ever seen. So Trump has said he wouldn't debate because there's no nominee. Well, now it looks like there is an official debate on the schedule. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, this is also interesting. This is from Colin Rugg. Kamala putting out her accent again, saying thank you to all the sisters and brothers before rushing off the stage. Now, this is a common tactic. We see this time and time again with these politicians, especially from the Democrat Party. What do? They adopt some kind of dialect or accent to pander to whatever group they're talking to. We've seen it with Hillary. Now we're seeing it with Kamala.
The one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Thank you to the sisters and brothers of UAW for all you are and all we will do over these next 89 days. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We're going to get this done.
Now, if you'll notice, you see those teleprompters right there? There it is. It's a teleprompter speech. That wasn't a press conference. She wasn't fielding open questions. She's reading a script. And then she runs away. By contrast, what does Donald Trump do? Gives a completely unscripted 72-minute press conference from a rabid and hateful press that lies and smears him daily. The contrast could not be clearer. So, folks, if that doesn't fire you up for the election, I don't know what will. Trump is bringing the heat. Kamala's feeling the pressure, and the media is playing catch-up from massive rallies to policy shakeups. It's clear the race is far from over, so keep your eyes peeled and your ears open, because if tonight's revelations are any indication, we are in for one wild ride to November. Stay tuned to the Raw feed, because we'll be here bringing you every bombshell, every rally cry, and every bit of truth the mainstream media will touch. The battle for America's future is on, and you are on the front lines with us. All right, let's check in with the live chat. as I attempt to fix this earpiece. Let's see if we can get this thing fixed. Okay. I think that'll help. All right. Let's see what do you guys think about that last story here? Where's Kamala? She's hiding from the crashing stock market. That was Rob. That was 20 minutes ago. Tweedledee. Tweedledum. Groovy butterfly, just pandering to her audience. That's what she does. That's what Kamala does best. Wow. Gary, where is Joe Biden? Great question. Great question. The guy has been missing in action. I mean, he gave an interview yesterday, and it was a pre-recorded interview. Nothing fancy about it. Pre-recorded, so they could edit out any problems that he would present during the interview. He's hiding too. He's delegating all of his authority to different branches of government, and he's going to coast out of this administration and let Kamala take lead as the campaign head. I even saw a tweet or a message just before we went live, and they were actually saying that in September that Joe Biden is officially going to resign from office and resign from the presidency and hand it to Kamala, which would then boost another round of the, euphoria, the honeymoon period that's currently happening. I mean, these people are twisted in their strategy, so I really wouldn't put anything past them. So great question. Where is he? God will handle the election. Well, I certainly hope so, Sassy. I certainly hope so. Paper Roses. I figured out why she wants to get rid of beef and cheeseburgers. One reason, the WEF, and others because the way she grew up believing to not eat beef based on her beliefs. Interesting. Okay, now let's jump into our next topic here because it is pretty alarming, to say the least. Now, this is a thread that was just published, and we're going to go through the thread. We're going to present the videos. It's pretty wild, so buckle up. All right, get ready for a bombshell, truth seekers, because we're about to blow the lid off one of the biggest political scandals of our time. We've got our hands on a secret Zoom recording that exposes how the Biden-Harris team manipulated voters about Joe's mental decline. From digital directors admitting to censorship programs to rapid response teams classifying inconvenient truths as disinformation, this story goes deep. So how far did they go to fool the American people? And what does this mean for the 2024 election? So buckle up, because this revelation will shake your faith in the entire political system. Now, in a world where truth is under attack, protecting your assets is more crucial than ever. And just as we're exposing the manipulation in politics, you need to shield your finances from economic turmoil. Gold prices have surpassed $2,400 an ounce, signaling a weakening U.S. dollar. So don't let your hard-earned money become a casualty of political chaos. Global Gold Investments offers a 5-year IRA fee waiver program and expert guidance to secure your financial future. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148, or visit the link in the description, IRAGoldproof.com. Mention Next News for VIP treatment. While politicians play chess with our country, make your move to protect your wealth with gold. Okay, let's buckle up, folks. Let's get into this, because this is a pretty alarming story. Now, this comes to us from Matt Orfalia. In a newly discovered Zoom recording, the Biden-Harris team reveals how they manipulated voters to think Biden's mental decline was disinformation. And of course, you know what happened at that debate. They could no longer hide it. So here's the initial message. This was November. This goes back to 2020. This is how long they've been playing this game. Hope not hate. We're getting started with tonight's webinar. Hearing from Rob Flaherty and Bex Rink and Timothy Durrigan about how the Biden campaign tracked and countered disinformation during the presidential campaign. Now, the Biden-Harris, this is I think, 11-part tweet, 11-part thread. Biden and Harris Digital Director Rob Flaherty says the DNC created a program to detect, track, and censor what it deemed as misinformation, like Biden's mental decline. He calls it critical and one of the more important decisions made by the party in recent years. These are his own words. Let's listen.
And so, one of the smartest things that I think the party did itself was over the last couple of years, they actually invested in a team that Tim runs, and you'll hear from Tim, to detect and track misinformation and misinformation narratives in the sort of various corners of the internet. And then actually go out and flag it to platforms as a violation of their policy. And so that
Did you hear that? They don't like your opinion. They don't like the facts you present. So they go to the platform and flag the content as a policy violation, a misinformation violation. What happens next? Accounts get deleted, terminated, suspended. All because they don't like what you're saying.
I mean, the stuff that they did was a critical asset. That piece of infrastructure, I think, was one of the more important decisions that was made in sort of the party space over the last couple of years.
Yeah, thanks for that. So it goes on. He presents emails that show Flaherty carrying out the supposedly counter misinformation program in the White House, pushing Facebook, you ready for this, to censor Tucker Carlson for discussing certain jabs, and Tomi Lahren for her strong my body, my choice stance. Here's the email of them going after Tucker and Tommy because they don't like their position. My body, my choice? Isn't that like one of the mantras of the left? Oh, not during COVID, though. Despite leading the Biden White House efforts to censor misinformation when asked under oath to define misinformation, he refused. Really? You're out there fighting misinformation. You're telling all your underlings to fight misinformation, but yet you won't define it in a hearing? Let's listen.
So, Mr. Flaherty, when the Biden administration told Americans that the vaccinated couldn't get the virus, were they guessing or lying?
Congressman, I think, first of all, it's important to remember my role in this discussion, which is as a communicator on behalf of
you work for the Biden administration, you're assistant to the president. It's a simple question. When they told the American people that if you get the vaccine...
Congressman, again, I'm not here as a medical expert.
No, that's just common. Everyone knows that. Of course they can. I'm a simple question.
That sounds right to me.
You agree, Mr. Seligman? That's the common definition in the misinformation industry out there?
Yes.
Experts tell us. Misinformation, saying something that's not... I'm not asking that. I'm a simple question. What's misinformation?
Well, Congressman, I think it's important in the context of these...
How about you, Professor? Can you tell me what misinformation is?
I assume it would be saying something was completely untrue.
Saying something that's untrue, but with no intent. No intent. Disinformation, this is what all the misinformation experts tell us. Misinformation, saying something that's not accurate. Disinformation, saying something that's not accurate with the intent to mislead. Right?
That sounds right to me.
You agree, Mr. Seligman? That's the common definition in the misinformation industry out there?
Yes, my understanding.
Okay, that's the definition. So now, Mr. Flaherty, how about this question? When the Biden administration told the American people that the vaccinated couldn't get the virus, was it misinformation or disinformation?
Congressman, again, we were communicating the best medical research that we had at the time on behalf of a group of some of the best doctors in the world in Atlanta and Bethesda.
When the Biden administration told the American people that the virus didn't come from...
Oh, man. Okay, so there you have it. Defaulting to talking points. Well, we had the best information at the time. And of course, we were all proven true. We were shouting from the rooftops from the moment that pandemic started, getting our content removed for speaking the truth. Oh, but they were just acting on the best information that they had. And now we're all proven true. But at the time, it was all misinformation or disinformation that they felt they had to suppress. But in the Zoom call, he said misinformation narratives include conversations online about corruption or mental fitness or Biden's record on the crime bill, effectively defining misinformation as anything the Biden team found inconvenient. Oh, here we go.
We brought Becca on to sort of think through, okay, now that we have these misinformation narratives, what do we actually do? What do we do? It is one thing to know that there is a lot of conversation online about corruption or mental fitness or any of these things, or the vice president's record on the crime bill, which was sort of a controversial piece of legislation in the early 90s. But it was another to go, okay, now what? We brought Becca on to...
Thanks for that. Becca, he says, we brought Becca on. Well, Becca is Biden's rapid response director, later the White House deputy director of digital strategy, also classified talk of Biden's mental decline as disinformation around his mental acuity.
We saw a huge amount of volume and a lot of impact on narratives like Joe Biden was being manipulated by the radical left and disinformation around his mental acuity.
So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to classify that as misinformation. Of course, we know the pressure from the radical left is being exerted on the Biden administration. Oh, but it's misinformation. The Biden-Harris team micro-targeted voters. You ready for this? Exposed to the disinformation, aka reality, of Biden's mental decline. They use psychographic targeting, a tactic that Cambridge Analytica was highly scrutinized for after the 2016 election. Let's hear what they have to say.
Essentially, the pitch was that we were going to combine micro-targeting, which had existed in politics, which was, in part my background, but bring on boards new constructs from psychology, so that we wouldn't just be targeting you as a voter, we'd be targeting you as a personality.
We targeted folks based
targeting you as a personality. Your little Facebook posts, so troublesome, so full of truth. Your darn tweets and your opinions and your facts. Micro-targeting. Goodness. Okay, let's see what she's got to say.
On online behavioral cues, building out personas.
Targeting you as a personality.
Personas based on the type of content they were consuming, what they were searching, the kinds of websites they were visiting.
We could build a psychological profile
Holy cow.
Of each voter in a particular region.
We built out different personas for the different parts of our key audiences, both persuadable and our supporters, and then targeted them with custom campaigns.
So you've harvested my data and then you've used that to target me in ways that I can't see and that I don't understand.
Yeah, so we would know what kinds of messaging you would be susceptible to, including the framing of it, the topics, the contents, the tone, whether it's scary or not, that kind of thing. So what you would be susceptible to and where you're going to consume that. And then how many times do we need to touch you with that in order to change how you think about something?
Wow. That is a straight up political psyop. I've said it here 100 times. The feed, the narrative that you are fed in your timelines on your Facebook page, your Instagram, any of your social properties are all being manipulated. Manipulated to give you the reality that they construct and the reality that they want you to see. The online dossier of every single one of us is being used to manipulate our political positions. And that's why we need to be fully aware of what is going on. so we can combat it, so we can put up our personal defenses, so we can practice discernment. This is a very serious info war. Okay, so Rinkovich, we targeted folks based on online behavioral cues, building out the personas. Now, I think this might be a rehash of what was what we just saw.
Target folks. We targeted folks based on online behavioral cues, building out personas based on the type of content they were consuming, what they were searching, the kinds of websites they were visiting, so that we could target folks in real time as they were exposed to that disinformation.
As they were exposed to the disinformation. Okay, so you respond to a tweet or a Facebook post, you put a little like emoji, or you comment on somebody posting about Biden's cognitive decline. Somehow they have real-time metrics to that information. And then all of a sudden they can come around and retarget you to push back on the fact that you liked the post like that. Think about the finite manipulation that is happening in the social media realms. Because your eyes see reality, but they want you to think that your eyes are lying to you. When Biden falls up a flight of stairs on Air Force One or falls off a bike in Virginia, what do? Oh, no, he's perfectly fine. When he gets lost trying to exit a stage or can't handle an unscripted press conference and fumbles through his words, oh, no. Nothing to see here, folks. Yeah. Manipulating your reality in real time. Wow. Flaherty and Rinkovich saw the opportunity to grab a voter at a moment of curiosity and essentially keep badgering her as she traveled across the internet. That is according to the journalist Sasha Eisenberg in his book, Lie Detectives. Holy cow. At a moment of curiosity, the moment that they can detect your curiosity, they target you. Like I just said, when you interact with that post, boom, instant data point that they can spin around and badger you at every single other data point you interact with on the web. Okay, looks like we got looks like an interview now. Couple minutes with this Sasha Eisenberg. If you typed the words Biden and the word senile in a search bar, you'd be shown short videos of Biden speaking clearly. Upon hearing this, MSNBC's Chris Hayes exclaimed, wow, Chris Hayes. I mean, he's one of those radical left MSNBC hosts that nobody likes. But apparently, he's getting a little bit of a red pill moment. Let's take a listen.
Team advice, what they called the Sleepy Joe storyline, using Trump's phrase about Biden's age and acute mental fitness. That was a problem. It had reach and it had potential impact. The persuadable voters said it would affect their vote choice. And so this manifests itself in a receptivity to storylines that suggested that he was old and physically weak, but it wasn't the real concern, as one of his pollsters described to me, was that he wouldn't be the author of his presidency. Right. And so the original communications team advice on dealing with the age thing was, let's set up photo ops where he's going to ride his bicycle. Let's have him jog up the steps to his plane. And this research project pushed back and said, no, people are not worried that he won't get his steps in the White House. They are worried that he
is not his own man, that he's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so the response to it, if you were targeted, they started buying search terms like Biden and senile. And so if you went on Google and you search those terms, they would try to drop a cookie on your web browser so that eventually when you're somewhere off on the web, on YouTube, you might get shown a 15-second video of Biden speaking to camera unedited about his economic policies. Like the most banal thing that you can imagine, something that has no apparent connection to his age,
Right.
But the testing revealed that that was the thing that assuaged these concerns, was like, no, he knows what he believes and he can say it clearly. And so, I think that the most effective tactics to dealing with this disinformation things are the ones that really step back and sort of think about this as a kind of traditional political communications problem, even if it's triggered by this sort of peculiar digital dynamics that sort of set it in motion.
Yeah, that's a fascinating story.
It's a fascinating story, isn't it? And how ironic is it? Now, I didn't see this clip. You and I watched it for the first time just now. and they used the two examples that I just presented to you. Unreal. Shoo! Keep going, baby. Okay, Biden's team also deployed an army. This like we're seeing now with Kamala. Biden's team also deployed an army of online influencers to fight disinformation. When asked for an example of disinformation countered with this digital organizing, Flaherty's example of such disinformation was the question about Biden's mental fitness.
Everyone sit up. And that goes.
I just wanted to ask if you could, I would love to hear if you could expand a little bit more on how you use digital organizing to counter disinformation. If you can expand a little bit more, like that would be really cool to hear.
Yeah. I know there's a second panel we're doing on digital organizing. We had one of the largest digital organizing operations that's sort of everyone sit up. And that goes from a YouTube creator all the way down to a pastor who has a Facebook following that is big in Florida. So, for example, if there was this sort of question about the president-elect's mental fitness, which was a sort of hit against him that the polling found to be effective. It was also very easy to ameliorate by showing content of the vice president speaking, right? Because that gives people proof without like showing them up, right? And so we encourage those people to share content that did that thing, and that helped disprove from a research perspective the thing without being in their face about it, saying fact check or if you believe this, you're wrong. And so that was just like one sort of example.
I just wanted to ask if you could.
Okay, so without putting it in their face, so they're doing it surreptitiously, secretly. They're making you see this information without really disclosing the origins of it. Wow. This is a sophisticated manipulation psyop. This goes on. Joining Flaherty and Rinkovich on Zoom was the DNC Counter Disinformation Program creator and lead analyst, Tim Durrigan. His reports, according to Flaherty, went to the highest levels of the Biden campaign.
Highest level. We at the campaign cared a lot about this work, and reports that Tim did went to the literal highest levels of the campaign.
The highest levels. The Twitter files. Oh, remember the Twitter files? Show that Durrigan tried to censor many posts, including a video mashup of Biden coughing posted by Jack Posobiec. He failed in the one instance, but it seems other such efforts were successful. According to lie detectives, he also cultivated ties with Google and Facebook. Okay, so Jack Posobiec, very influential on X, puts out a video, and they come out and force to suppress it. I think we have there's four attachments on this piece. So Matt Taibbi, if you know, he was one of the first people to present all this information from inside of Twitter after Elon Musk purchased it. The flow chart here. Now this is Twitter responding to complaints. The video is an unaltered excerpt of Vice President's speech. Our team considered it to be out of context but not deceptive, Twitter told the staffer, who fumed. These rules need revision.
Excuse me. I stole for that. Thank you. It was unexpected outlets. Not when I first. I'll bet that mother. Done.
Okay, so that goes on for 26 seconds. They didn't like that he decided to edit every moment the man coughed. You've probably seen dozens of mashups where people are, every time they say one word, they edit the same word over and over again, like being unburdened by what has been. That's Kamala's catchphrase. People edit this time every time she says it. And here it's no different. You just have an edit of him coughing, but no, that's not. They determined that these rules need to be revised.
The reason Joe Biden appears lost in the video is because Joe Biden is literally, by definition, lost. Biden began his speech by greeting the wrong community center.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway.
He's speaking at William Hicks Anderson Center, not Kingswood.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Nobody thought it was a joke.
Welcome to Kingswood Community Center.
It was just really awkward.
Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway.
Factcheck.org then argues the video is false for not including the rest of this sentence.
It's great to be here and back in a place where.
But Joe Biden never finished the sentence himself.
It's great to be here and back in a place where I want to thank Wayne Jefferson for having us here at the Hicks Anderson Center. I've been from Delaware.
After accusing the video of editing out the end of a sentence that was never completed in the first place, FactCheck reprimands the video for cutting together clips of Biden's awkward pauses.
I mean, that's a 5-minute video. I'll go ahead and retweet this. You can hit me up you can hit up my X profile. You can see it for yourself. But just a perfect example of how the fact checkers are attempting to control your reality. And a lot of times these fact checkers are working hand in hand with the administration or the campaign so they can control the narrative that you see in your news feeds. The Zoom host asks about the big problem of true misinformation, and Durgan says it's a huge problem and wants social media to suppress true misinformation to promote authoritative news sources like the New York Times. Big Tech's done that since 2018, but apparently not enough for Tim. Well, if you've been following this channel for any period of time, then you know that in 2017 of November is when YouTube officially changed their algorithm. And when they did that, they started to lift up authoritative voices. And when they decided to lift up authoritative voices, they suppressed all the independent media and content creators, like this very channel. Whistleblowers from inside Google came forward. Zach Voorhees came forward with documentation that proved that our channel was on a list of those sources of information put at the very bottom, weighted with a negative search result, so you couldn't even find our content. So if you're here watching this, you are one of the lucky ones that made it through the algorithm.
One of the big problems I think we're facing with the misinformation in the UK is not just the role that fabricated or misinformation is playing, but selective truth or selective propaganda, if you will. A lot of the groups that we would monitor, for example, the vast majority of the content in their groups, say it's an anti-Muslim movement, is true. It's not that the story is fabricated. It's just that the only thing that they post in that group is 1,000 articles a week about halal food all over the world. And they create this perception that halal and Islam is taking over the world. And it's not that the stories are not true. It's just that they are very selective in their choosing. And I wonder if that's something that you had to come up with that goes slightly beyond just saying this is fabricated, this is fact-checked, it's not true, and how you deal with it when something is true, but they present it in a manner or with a mass of it that it becomes untrue. And how do you deal with kind of true misinformation, if that's not a paradox?
In terms of the propaganda aspect, I think it's a huge problem. One of the things that Facebook has touted is their fact-checking program, which is, problematic and insufficient in a lot of ways. But the problem that you mentioned, Joe, is super important, because even if the fact-checking was happening, perfectly, there would still be the ability to deceive with, framing and with coverage choices. So similar to the halal example you gave, in the US, there's a company called Mad World News. And basically they will take, 4 and 5-year-old really heinous crimes, usually perpetrated against women or children by, people of color. And they will circulate those and publish them over and over as if, this was happening on a daily basis. And they can kind of spread, foment racism, encourage hate with truth, even if it's presented in a misleading way. From my perspective, I think this comes down to distribution and quality of content. And one of the things that especially social media has been really hesitant to do is to say certain sources of news are more authoritative than others. They're higher quality than others. And so, to give a US example, the New York Times, which people will call sometimes the paper of record, really authoritative source of information, and that site Mad World News are treated the same. They look the same on Facebook. And so, if a Mad World News clip is getting a lot of likes, Facebook is going to say, hey, this is good content, and they're going to push it out just the same as if, the New York Times did that. And usually the New York Times is not going to get as many likes because the content they're putting out is factual, it's nuanced, it's boring, but accurate. And so there's kind of a natural preference for this type of clickbait, inciting content. And so I think that's certainly a frontier where we need.
Yeah, certainly. Right. Oh, authoritative news. I can't stand that term. A month later, the really authoritative New York Times celebrated the Biden-Harris team and called concerns about Biden's mental health baseless rumors and misinformation from right-wing influencers. Oh, but they're the paper of record, right? Fight misinformation, but pick your battles. There were baseless rumors about Mr. Biden's health. When it did respond to misinformation, the Biden team tried to address the root of the narrative. After right-wing influencers posted compilation videos of Mr. Biden stumbling over his words and appearing forgetful. Yeah, those things certainly didn't happen. That's just misinformation we've been fed for years. But the Biden team didn't just get the media to forward their deception. They changed real votes. According to Rinkovich, concern around Biden's mental acuity in particular went down by 8 points over the course of our campaign, resulting in about 200,000 votes for Biden. Did you hear what I just said? This campaign to suppress the truth about Biden by countering narratives being presented by individuals like Jack Posobiec and others, and even probably mine here, reporting on Biden's mental acuity, falling up the stairs and falling off bikes and all of his gaffes. And like you just saw the clip, he didn't even know where he was. So they, in real time, pushing back against these narratives in a straight up, point for point war of information, resulting in 200,000 votes.
And a couple notes on sort of our eventual top line impact. We found over the course of our campaign in tracking with our traditional research and in-flight ads measurement that the risk and the hit concern around mental acuity in particular went down by 8 points over the course of our campaign. And in looking at the number of folks who moved in vote choice, we saw about 200K folks shore up their votes for the president-elect based on the ads that we served in our campaign. So a very quick and dirty, high-level look at...
Quick and dirty. Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. To put things into perspective, Orphalia points to this poll Biden won by fewer than 200,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin combined. So their effective campaign to push back against the truth of Biden's cognitive decline, their counter campaign, where she just admitted to about 200,000 votes, materialized in these states. Biden won by fewer than 200,000 votes. Now, of course, how many of those were just handwritten mail-ins overnight at 3 a.m.? Today, Rinkovich runs the Institute of Rebooting Social Media, at Harvard. Durgan leads the DNC disinfo analysis, and Flaherty is the deputy campaign manager overseeing digital ads and social for Kamala Harris, despite her past criticism of the intrusive data collection that he exploits.
And whether, let's be clear, this arrangement is not always working in the best interests of the American people. First, users have little to no idea just how Facebook collects their data, including tracking the user's location, the device they are using, their IP address, and activities on other websites. To be clear, this occurs whether or not they are logged into Facebook and whether or not they even use Facebook. Let me put this in perspective.
Please do.
In the real world, this would be like someone following you every single day as you walk down the street, watching what you do, where you go, for how long, and with whom you're with. For most people, it would feel like an invasion of privacy, and they'd call the cops. Let's be clear.
Yeah, let's be clear. Yeah, back in the day, she might have opposed it, but now she's actively using it. Like Biden's mental decline, the war on disinformation continues. What true misinformation will they go after next? Please follow me here on X and at orf.report. So my hat is off to Matt Orfalea for putting together this comprehensive thread. 19 threads. Oh my, and I don't even follow him. I don't even know how I got there, but I'm following him now. Definitely. And I'm going to tap that notification bell so I make sure I get all the posts from Matt Orfalea. Amazing thread. An absolutely amazing thread. Going to go ahead and retweet that for sure. So if you want to go and follow that thread, go follow me on X. You'll find that thread. Even Mike Benz commenting on the thread, calling it an essential thread for everybody. So there you have it, folks. The smoke and mirrors game played by the Biden-Harris team has been exposed for all to see. This is not just about one election or a candidate. It's about the integrity of the entire process. So as we move forward, remember, vigilance is key. Question everything. Seek out the truth, and don't let manipulated narratives shape your views. Keep watching the Raw feed here at the Next News Network, because we will be here peeling back the layers of deception and bringing you the unvarnished truth. The fight for transparency in our political system is just beginning, and we're counting on informed citizens like you to keep the flame of liberty burning bright. Wow. That was a really long report, but I'm glad we were able to do it. I'm glad you're still here with me. Absolutely critical information. Who knew? Who knew it was that finite, that they were pinpointing all the information and pushing back on every single narrative, even being able to pull real metrics back and to see how many votes that these campaigns were having an effect on. 200,000 votes, according to her. I have to rewatch this, says Deborah. Definitely. We will also be clipping it out. It'll be a special individual upload. You can watch it later as well. Rewrite social media 1984 style if the Dems lead with that. So Kamala's saying she wants to be a dictator. Spaghetti Ryan, don't be spoon-fed reality. You know what? That's the comment of the evening. Don't be spoon-fed reality. The reality is what you see, not what they are feeding you in the news feeds. on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, whatever. Those algorithms are specifically curated to give you the result and the outcome that they want. Wow. That was something else. Okay. I didn't realize I didn't follow him. But man, I'm glad I came across that feed. I'm glad the algorithm fed me that one, because now I can share that with you. Okay, so this next story. This is crazy what's happening in the UK. So let's get into this. Brace yourselves, freedom lovers, because we're about to dive into a story that will send chills down your spine. The UK has just unleashed Orwellian speech laws that could land you in jail for a simple retweet. But it doesn't stop there. We've got Joe Rogan sounding the alarm, comparing it to Soviet Russia. Is this dystopian nightmare heading to American shores? And in a twist that affects us all, the World Federation of Advertisers is shutting down GARM after X and Rumble's lawsuit. So what does this mean for free speech online? Stick around, because this story could be the key to understanding the future of your First Amendment rights. Now, in these uncertain times, protecting yourself is paramount. Just as we're exposing threats to free speech, you need to safeguard yourself on the road. Our sponsor's cutting-edge dash cam is your silent guardian against accidents and false claims. With 4K Ultra HD night vision, 24/7 motion detection, captures every detail, potentially saving you from legal battles. Recent reports show that drivers with dash cams are 60% less likely to be found at fault in accidents. Visit carvisionx.com. It's linked down below for free express shipping and exclusive bonuses. Don't wait for a crisis. Secure your driving future today and drive with the confidence of irrefutable evidence on your side. Okay, so let's get into this. You guys have probably been following what's going on in the UK. Riots. It is absolutely insane. Now, I don't even know where to begin here because it's so frightening. I guess before we get to the GARM situation, because GARM, that's really good news about GARM. I think we should open up with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan goes there, says the UK's speech crackdown reminds him of Soviet Russia. You ready for this? Let's go.
Well, now a lot of just terrible government overreach. You're seeing it now in England where people are getting arrested for tweets.
Yeah. Well,
England, people talk about Soviet Russia, like how bad Russia is in terms of cracking down on thought police and cracking down on bad tweets and things like that. I think the statistics are, I think England I think there's something like 4,000 people have been arrested in England for thought crimes where they've said things online that people find to be a hateful thing or a problematic thing. And I think it's only 200 in Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe in Russia they're too scared to do it at all.
Could be. Yeah. But the fact that they're comfortable with finding people who've said something that they disagree with and putting them in a fucking cage in England in 2024 is really wild.
Yeah.
Especially they're saying you get arrested just for retweeting something.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification, arrests, and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
And here's the problem with that. Even if you say, yeah, well, people shouldn't tweet hateful things. I agree. They shouldn't. But who's to decide what is a hateful thing?
That's the problem. It's subjective.
That's the problem. It's very subjective.
And it still shouldn't be a crime.
And in our lifetime, we've seen that get moved, right? So it used to be if a guy thought he was a woman and his name was Doug, and you grew up with Doug, and all of a sudden Doug wants to be called Debbie, if you call him Doug, it's no big deal. Like, yeah, maybe you're being rude to call him Doug, but it's not a hate crime, okay? Well, now a lot of people think it's a hate crime, and that got you banned from Twitter for life. So if you dead name someone on the old Twitter, you are banned for life. Dead name, not even making up a name. You can call him an idiot. You can call someone an idiot. Okay, forget about a man and address. Maybe that's a problem. But if you call like a regular guy an idiot, you stupid fuck, fine, no problem. But if you call Doug, you will get banned for life. Okay, that's the new hate speech. That's crazy. Now, if that keeps going, that didn't exist before. If that keeps going, maybe you can go to jail for calling him Doug. Maybe they think it's okay to put you in jail because you violated their hate speech laws. Just terrible government over.
What's interesting about how he's talking about dead naming is that when I had my consultation with YouTube, I was told that you couldn't dead name somebody because that they would consider it hate speech, and therefore the channel would not get remonetized. Now, it's not a topic that we cover here. You know, I just stay away from it because it's repulsive to begin with. So I just avoid it. But the fact is that, you know, he's bringing it up how you get banned from Twitter for life for dead naming, and that's actually one of the points that was brought to my attention regarding the terms of service on YouTube. And now people are being put in jail for retweeting posts on X. And Elon Musk sounding off on this. He's calling it the woke Stasi. And wokeness tweeting that UK authorities will round up and charge citizens who retweet any material deemed as inciting hatred. Now, this appears to be the same post that that was included in the piece with Rogan.
To racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offense.
The DPP warns, this is the lower third, this is the Chiron on this, Sky News report. DPP warns sharing online material of the riots could be an offense. So if you are connected to what's happening there, you want to find out what's happening, you want to share what's happening there in the UK, simply by retweeting information regarding the riots, could land you in prison. Now, remember, the UK does not have a Bill of Rights and a free speech amendment like we have here. Thank God. We overthrew the crown and established the Constitution. But this is what they want to bring here. Look what's happening up in Canada. Same type of situation. They're policing social media and putting people in prison for what they believe are hate speech violations. They can't do that here. Instead, what they do is they create terms of service, and then if you violate the terms of service, they just terminate you or they demonetize you, shadow ban you, because they cannot call it criminal. But they're on the way. They are on the way to making that happen. Someone's going to create legislation at some point that is going to amplify and redefine hate speech, even though we have a First Amendment here. Now, in the vein of this demonetization, some good news. We just reported the other day, Elon Musk filing a lawsuit against the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Now, the Global Alliance for Responsible Media was recently brought to light in a congressional hearing on the Weaponization Committee with Jim Jordan. We presented to you clips here of Ben Shapiro testifying before that committee because the Daily Wire and Breitbart were also targeted by that group, the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM. And when we discussed this the last time, I had presented this, that listen, this channel's been demonetized. We're fighting for survival. If you want to support us, there are links down below. I hope you will make a decision to chip in $5-10 because it helps, sincerely. So we said, listen, we need to find out if our channel, if, like, for example, if GARM reached out to YouTube and said, shut these guys down, take their advertising away. Because during the 2016 election, this channel was one of the most influential channels online. We helped elect Donald Trump in 2016. And it's evidenced by all the media attacks that came after the win. The Washington Post, the New York Times, the Guardian, Forbes, all these outlets came after us right after the 2016 election. And then they changed the algorithm in 2017, just a few months later, and suppressed the channel. Overnight, our channel lost 80% of its viewership because of an algorithmic shift to lift up the authoritative voices. That's what they called it. CNN and MSNBC and BBC, those were the authoritative voices. But people like me, who do our own investigation, have our own positions and opinions, no. Just sweep them down. And as I've mentioned before, Zach Voorhees bringing out that information, confirming that information when he blew the whistle, bringing out documents listing our channel and internal records. So I brought up that question. I said, well, what is, we got demonetized 19, 20 months ago, fighting for our life here every day. Was GARM involved in that decision-making process? Did GARM put pressure on YouTube to demonetize us? We don't know. So Elon Musk steps up to the plate and says, we're going to sue GARM. We're going to sue you guys to find out exactly what happened. I put out a message to Elon, to Mike Benz, to all the people who were inside of that lawsuit to include us, because we want to find out. And what happens? The World Federation of Advertisers is now shutting down. They're shutting down the Global Alliance for Responsible Media following an antitrust lawsuit filed by X and Rumble, according to Business Insider. GARM played a key role in the corporate cartel behind online censorship. So this is a huge, huge development. Rather than face the music, they decided they would shut it down. Kanekoa the Great tweeting out that message. Craig Chamberlain, now while GARM shut down at the threat of a lawsuit from Elon Musk and Rumble. That goes to show they knew they were cooked right out of the gate and their position was indefensible. This is a huge victory for free speech. Love to see this. Go free speech. Amen. Big victory for free speech. Wow, this is great news. What's crazy is all the big tech companies that have bent the knee to GARM for years. All it took was a few people with courage. That's all it took. Elon Musk said, we're going to sue the hell out of you. We're going to find out. And they caved. This is an open admission of guilt. The lawsuit cannot be dropped. They must continue forward and get the discovery. Well, we'll see. Maybe the lawsuit will continue. Maybe they will continue to go to the next level of the organization, because that was a World Economic Forum group funded by the World Economic Forum. Libs of TikTok even replying, wow, huge W. GARM fears discovery, and what per tell will we find? Yep. Leftists were all mocking Elon yesterday for filing this lawsuit. Cope and seethe, you libtards. Okay, so the Fourth Branch tweeting this point. GARM's 16 inaugural members include the WFA, the social media platform Facebook, technology company Google, its video subsidiary YouTube, social media company Twitter, Mobile Marketing Association, and others. GARM has been a flagship project of the World Economic Forum since at least November of 2019. So yes, it all makes sense now. The hammer dropped, Elon dropped it, and now they're shutting down. So let's just hope that the lawsuit continues to move forward. But the greater terrifying reality we're facing is the fact that the UK authorities are going to be rounding up citizens who retweet any material deemed inciting hatred. So I'll leave you with this. Free speech is dangerous unless liberals control it. Isn't that right? Free speech should be free. We should all be able to talk. We should all be able to have open dialogue, challenge narratives and question them. How else can we refine our positions if we don't get challenged? So, patriots, if that doesn't wake you up to the threats facing our freedoms, I don't know what will. From the UK's thought police to the collapse of online censorship cartels, it's clear the battle for free speech is far from over, but here is a silver lining. With every threat comes an opportunity for us to stand up and fight back. Keep speaking out. Keep sharing the truth, and never take your rights for granted. Remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. So keep watching the Raw feed, because we'll be here on the front lines bringing you every development in this crucial fight for liberty. And there's some big developments happening tomorrow, so buckle up. You need to subscribe to the channel right now so you are the first to know. Because the future of free speech is in our hands. Let's make it count. Checking back into the chat room. See how everybody's doing. Gary Graham, what is he saying here? Nothing can now be believed which is seen in the newspaper. Truth itself becomes suspicious by being put into that polluted vehicle. Thomas Jefferson. Buzzacino. Here today, gone tomorrow. We feel the joy, pain, and the sorrow. Some wish they had more time to borrow. So seize the day. Do not die hollow. When you send a message, I can't see this. When you send a message, people will know that you belong to this channel. This is a message I just received. No, I don't know how to check that. Well, how do I check that? Go to the search bar at the top? Yes. I see the filter icon, yes. Yes. Oh, click star. Okay. Okay, so... Oh, these are super rants. Oh, awesome. Okay. AirBC. That's what I was asking the authorities in the UK come after us in the States. Elon needs to keep up the fight, says Jeremy. He certainly does. These are super rants from Rumble. Thank you guys for that, sincerely. Salty Nationalist. Follow Gary here on Rumble. Sit back and enjoy the show. Salty Nationalist. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Brian, I'm not going to unstar them. I'll leave them there because it's, we can always come back and see who's these rants, super rants are from. But I appreciate that. Okay, so if I want to, show all. Go back to show all. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, Brian, I think you just clicked the link. You put the link to the Rumble version, the Rumble stream. It's pinned. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, do yourself a favor, go to the top of the chat room and go give us a follow on Rumble. We need to grow that significantly. Also, I need you to follow us on X as well. We got 2 million people that will follow us here on YouTube, but we need to get people migrating over to these other platforms. So again, I thank everybody for tuning in tonight. A lot of information here. Another what? 2 more what? 2 more super rants. Okay. I'm trying to see. I don't see. Well, I only see the 3 that you presented to me. Oh, you're adding them. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna. I guess. Let's see. Okay, there they are. Nurse Debbie says, "I found you again." I'm glad to be found, Nurse Debbie. Thank you for that super rant. Air BC says, "Can they come after us, the authorities in the UK? I mean, we can if they break our laws." That's what I meant. I see. Okay, thanks for clarifying that point. Let's take a look at what other people are saying here in the chat room. Oh, I gotta show all. Okay, show all. There we go. No, I don't want to put a user in timeout. I just want to see. Okay, there we go. Jeremy's jumping back and forth. They found the issue for the mods there. Rumble throws me off for some reason. I don't know why. Still our privacy. Keep your powder dry, gentlemen, says Rogue Raven. So many people tuning in. I really appreciate you guys so much. So we've covered a lot of ground tonight. And remember, tomorrow we're going to have some big breaking news. Still trying to get some clarity on some of the points to expect, but it's going to be a pretty big show tomorrow. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe to us on all the platforms, YouTube and Rumble and X, so that you are the first to know when we go live. And there you have it, folks. Another episode of the Raw Feed is now in the books, from Trump's surging campaign to the exposed voter manipulation tactics of the Biden-Harris team, from the global assault on free speech to the economic challenges facing everyday Americans. We've covered it all, but remember, this show isn't just about dropping truth bombs. It's about empowering you to take action. Knowledge is power, but only if you use it. So what are you going to do with what you have learned tonight? Will you share it with your friends and family? Will you dig deeper into the issues, or will you let it inspire you to get more involved in shaping the future of our nation? Your voice matters now more than ever, and in a world of censorship and manipulation, it's up to the informed citizens like you to keep the flame of truth burning bright. So don't just sit there. Get fired up, get involved, and make your voice heard. If you found value in tonight's show, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, drop a super rant on Rumble. Your support keeps us digging for the truth and bringing it to you straight, unfiltered, and uncensored. This is Gary Franchi signing off for the Raw Feed. Remember, in the face of lies and manipulation, truth is our greatest weapon. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and never stop questioning the narrative. Until tomorrow, keep it raw, keep it real, and keep fighting for the America that we know and love. Good night, and God bless.